Not even showing. It's showing us live.
We're live, Grace.
Okay. Hey, we are live. Hi, everybody. Okay, we have to.
One white shoe and one nika. Got no house and I got no car. One black boy from Africa. Got big dreams, they go take me far. All I wanna do is to make the world smile. And music I they do is my only substance. And I really got plans to make the world dance, yeah. I make the world dance. As I got money for my pocket, balance it. I go just enter the place, balance it. As I got money for my pocket, balance it. I go just call all my guys, balance it. As I got dollars for my pocket, balance it. I go just do any other way, balance it. As I got money for my pocket, balance it. And my girls flex with my hello, yeah. Baby, give me that thing now, yo. I don't come here to play, I was scatter the place. People try to hold me down, slow me down, I tell them no, yeah. I just wanna enjoy my life, I wanna run my race. Back in the day, they said me a broke. All of them a treat me like a gully bug, yeah. Right now my life is a miracle. All the ladies wanna lick me like a lollipop. As I get money for my pocket, balance it. I go just enter the place, balance it. As I get money for my pocket, balance it. I go just call all my guys, balance it. As I get better for my pocket, balance it. I go just do any other way, balance it. As I get money for my pocket, balance it. And my girls flex it, my hello, shit, but not tomorrow, yeah, not tomorrow, not tomorrow. One white shoe and one nika. Got no house and I got no car. One black boy from Africa. Got big dreams, they go take me far. All I wanna do is to make the world smile. And music I they do is my only substance. And I really got plans to make the world dance, yeah. I make the world dance. As I get money for my pocket, balance it. I go just enter the place, balance it. As I get money for my pocket, balance it. I go just call all my guys, balance it. As I get better for my pocket, balance it. I go just do any other way, balance it. As I get money for my pocket, balance it. And my girls flex with my as I get money for my pocket, balance it. I go just enter the place, balance it. As I get money for my pocket, balance it. I go just call all my guys, balance it. As I get better for my pocket, balance it. I go just do any other way, balance it. As I get money for my pocket, balance it. My girls flex with my
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Split Talk, the non-generation, and also Lawani in collaboration. And we also have another platform here represented by Yasini Player. And we are all here today to talk about the International Women's Day. So International Women's Day is on tomorrow, March 8th. But we as Liberian women, we decided to come on and, celebrate the International Women's Days today because that's the time we have. We also have a fourth person joining us, and her name is Jean Collins. So everybody will introduce themselves. And if you're on here, please share the video for us because this is a new platform. So we don't have a lot of people on this particular page. So this is a new platform. You on there. This program is going to be very educative. So please try and share the video for us. So we're going to be talking about, International Women's Day, the challenges, or the theme this year is Choose to Challenge. My name is Grace Goa. I represent Lawani.
And my name is Vera Addy, and I represent Lawani also.
And my name is Yasini Martin Payer. Of course, I represent the Alliance of Liberian Women International and Justice, March for Justice Liberia.
My name is Jane Colden. I'm with the New Jersey Black Empowerment Coalition in New Jersey.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for coming on with us. So this year, international, I take March to be International Women's Month, but the day is celebrated on March 8th. So tomorrow is going to be a virtual celebration all around the world, talking about women's rights and, you know, the challenges, and also how can we, you know, challenge one another as women. So why do we celebrate Women's Day on March 8th? So National Women's Day History Month traces its root to March 8th in 1857, when women from various places in New York and, you know, in New York, different factories actually, they staged a protest. Just imagine in 1857, women staging protests. That's huge. So they staged a protest over poor working conditions. So the women were working, and because for them the working conditions were poor, they decided to come together and actually stage a protest to be recognized that they are women and they want to work, and they want their conditions to be better. So and then this day was actually, you know, invented by Clara Ziekens. She had an idea in 1910. So after 1857, that happened. Later on, when women started having more rights in the world, in 1910, an international conference working for working women in Copenhagen, there were 100 women from 17 countries, and they agreed with a suggestion that they should actually celebrate International Women's Day. So that's how they came about March 8th. The official colors for International Women's Day are purple, green, and white. I have on my white girls. You guys are. Go ahead, Yasini.
Got on my white,
Uh-huh.
and I got on mine turquoise, although it's not for International Women's Day, but it represents the three color of women: domestic violence, and the other three, when sexual abuse and all of that.
Okay. And I see Miss Addie representing in her green, and Miss Coding representing her white too. I can see a little bit of white there.
Yeah.
So we all kind of, at least we in uniform. So, but the theme for International Women's Day for 2021 is the Women in Leadership Achieving an Equal Future in COVID-19 World. We celebrate the tremendous effort by women and girls around the world in shaping a more equal future and recovery from COVID-19 pandemic. So as we all know that this pandemic has been hard on the world, but mostly has been hard on women, mostly because we, you know, we are the backbone. People might not want to recognize it, but women are the backbone. So COVID-19 has taken over and been a great burden on women a lot. You know, us staying home, some of us working from home, we have to teach our children to go into school with the remote learning. We got to be paying attention to them, at the same time facing the meal, at the same time making sure the house is clean. So it has been a lot. I don't know if any of you guys want to come in before I go further, in, you know, elaborating a little bit more on the challenges that we face and how we can challenge one another.
So I can come in briefly. I had a great show yesterday with a young man. I learned this. Knowing that, but not to put it in this context. But he said to me, and we all know this. I always say women are the foundation of any family or any society per se, and that also Malcolm X. But women are the first teacher of humanity. Okay, we get to literally shape the world. Because when our children leave from the day we give them birth, in fact, from conception to when they become men and women, or coming to the point to pick up their own clothes and do all of that. We do all of that for them. We feed them, we nurture them, we keep them safe. When they go out until they're home, we don't get to relax. So yes, we and this pandemic have been really difficult for most of us. Where the children want to be children, but you also have to protect them. It's good for them to be children, but at the same time, you have to protect them. So it has been worrisome trying to balance all of that, keeping your children safe, keeping a job to be able to feed your family, and keeping yourself safe.
Okay.
And I just want to say, in addition to what Yasini has said, that we are the backbone in protecting our children. And I just wanted to add that nowadays, women are also challenged to protect their men, their husbands and stuff, especially in America here, where the Black man is, you know, at risk of dying easily when he encounters any kind of law enforcement or he's in a specific place. So now, in addition to nurturing our children and protecting our children, now we are responsible also for our husbands. So, you know, and it is a great challenge because some of the husbands have become so timid, they have become so afraid. It kind of like they're almost the man who is almost retracted because of the conditions that they live under nowadays. And so that is a great challenge to women nowadays. And I just wanted to throw that in there.
Okay, so before we come to Jean, I would like to say that women stand on the front line this COVID-19 time. This COVID-19 crisis, women were on the front line. And sorry, guys. I need to put it in off. Women were on the front line, healthcare workers, caregivers, innovators, community organizers. Some of us, mostly, we exemplify in leadership role. Now we see that a woman is now vice president of America. So, I mean, any way you twist it, women, we always on the front line, but we are not recognized and we don't challenge one another in that light. So I don't know. I will come to Jean. How do you feel about this?
I think women have been in leadership for a long time. Women are the soul of nations. Because women rise doesn't mean that our men fall when women rise. The equality of women have stood up for rights. We have been at the forefront of community development projects. We have been at the way before the men talk about the voting. Women were always the backbone. When we talk about Martin Luther King, we talked about women who actually paved the way for Martin to walk. So women have been at the forefront of many community affairs, many equality issues. Women have always been the people in the background doing the work to make the men look good. So if you think about what women have accomplished, we have accomplished a whole lot. And it's just now that we are recognizing our places in society, that we have equal rights. We should have equal pay in the jobs. We have equality all over this country. And now people are recognizing our worth is not just to stay home, but our worth in the economics of what's happening financially in the country. When we stand side by side with our coworkers who are white, we should be recognized that we should get ample pay, just as good as the pay that we are deserving of our coworkers. We should be able to get that pay. And now women recognize their worth and they're demanding it. And now that we're demanding it, we are now showing ourselves true and worthy of the cause that we've always fought.
Thank you so much. Fiora, before you come in, gender equality, I mean, research has shown that by 2030, there will be gender equality in the world. Today we are in 2021. Few years from now, everything they're saying that women will be as equal compared to men. That's what it's saying. So International Women's Day is a time for us to reflect on the progress made, to call for change, to celebrate the act of courage, just as Jean has said, and to be determined by ordinary women who have played an extraordinary role in history of their countries and their community. So in our Liberian setting, I don't know, I mean, I wanted to come up with names of women that have played extraordinary roles, but we have two of them right on the platform with us. Jean Collins, Cody, and Yasini Bay. They have played extraordinary role. I will not count myself in this thing because I'm the host today, but we have a lot of Liberian women. Fiora Adi, she has played extraordinary role in society, in community. So many things that you women have accomplished. So I want to celebrate you guys today. So I want you to come up with a few accomplishment, things that you have accomplished here in the States and also in Liberia. So I don't know which one of y'all I can start with. Somebody come up, because we have to glorify ourselves. We have to give ourselves our flowers before we can give it to somebody else. We are women and we are strong Black women. So I want you to come. Don't think that, oh, you know, because I did this and people will think I'm posting things that you have accomplished. I want you to mention them right on the platform today. So we'll start.
Anyway, before Jean or Yasini come in, I just wanted to say it's not boasting and stuff like that. Part of the challenges that women have is that we don't say our accomplishment. Therefore, the younger ones that are coming after us, they don't know who to look up to for leadership, and they end up looking in the wrong direction. So I think it's a good thing to lay out the kind of works that we're being involved in, and then people can look up to us and know that there are role models out there. There are women out there that if you need help, if you need direction, you can reach out to them and they can direct you positively, and they can actually teach you, because there are a lot of women in power. Like you said, Jean is one, Yasini is another. These are powerhouses. These are people with so much knowledge that they can pass on to our younger brothers and sisters, because we are of a certain age now. We always laugh about it. But how do we pass on the knowledge we have? How do we pass it on to our younger generation? Because the younger generation is being cheated. They are not getting a lot of information that they need to have for the future.
Okay, so Yasini, we'll start with you. You want to
That
brag
is okay.
about yourself, girl?
I'm actually, I'm humbled to be here with you ladies. Admire what you do because I know what it takes, how much time is involved, how much emotion and physical emotion and that is involved in what we do as women, day in, day out. But before I come to my particular role in my community, both local and home, I like to go back to, I like to reference the Bible a little bit. If you look on the day of judgment for Jesus Christ to be set free, at least the Bible tells us that Pontius Pilate walks back to his wife, consulted with his wife, not the elders, but consulted with his wife, and he came, wash his hands, and say, "Let the people decide." Meaning, he reached out to a woman for wisdom as to what decision you should make. That is matter. Like our husbands will consult us when they're doing stuff. So women have always been there to define the role. And my grandfather used to say, the partner you pick, especially if you're a man, the woman that you choose will either make you or break you. So this is very important as a man when you're looking. But let me highlight me just a little bit. And I don't it's different. It's like I'm put off from when I was a little girl, yeah, a teenager during the war. We had a place where the army had asked to come to the gravestone because this war touched all of us, almost 2 million of us in Liberia. And every family where we like it, that it did not matter where you came from, what tribe you were. And the army has said that I think the people at the Lutheran had just been killed. The army has said that they were runaway soldiers and they needed to come get them. The American ambassador, acting ambassador, had tried every which way he could, and they could not come up with an agreement. And I asked him, I said, can they give us a list of people? And they said they wouldn't do it. But as God would have it, there were some strong men from down Waterside area, New Kutan, who were in the MSC with us. And I asked them, I went into the building and grabbed axe and cutlasses and brought it out. We had reefs. That whole place used to be covered in reefs. And I said, well, we know we're going to die, but let's fight back. If we're going to die, let's die fighting. My mother broke down and cried. And she said, why are you doing that? I said, I want to die, but if I die, maybe I saw too many movies. I should die with dignity. And what I would say to us, I want us to be the movies that young girls see. So if they are dying, hopefully they will live, but they will live with dignity. And in my local community, I've served for an education chair, which is tutoring from SAT to every day going to court for young people at risk, not only Liberian community, but all young people to go to court, speak on their behalf when they were at risk, to make sure that somebody is there to speak, if just for them to say that somebody is there that could speak for them and believe in them and what they will do differently. Some of them have gone to become lawyers. Some of them have gone to become mothers and graduate and graduate school. And I serve here during the Ebola time as the vice president, the acting president, and the president of our community. There are about 23,000 Liberians with Liberian passport are in this community. And we serve our people well. Our people weren't ready, but we brought the people, we brought our particular organization to the people, wherever they take it and how far they carry it, that is on them. And we have not rested. We wake up every day to teach the new generation of Liberian. We speak for young women. We strengthen young women and men. We speak for mothers and children. We speak so they can be stronger, so we can be the voice that they can hear in the midst of darkness to find their way. We all, I tell Liberian women, since Jane is here, if she put up a light and Grace set another candle, and since V set another candle, and I am a candle, the place can only be lighter for more young women and men to walk in and see that there's a place at a table for them. We can be that light. Only if we believe that. I can go on and on, but that is enough for, and the joining continues. Sis Grace, it's an honor, and Sis V for reaching out to me to be here. Sis Jean, I'm honored to share this platform with you. We have a lot of work to do.
Of course we do. Thank you so much, Yasini. Chin, you can come in and
Thank
give
you.
on what you did.
So much. That was great. I would just piggyback on what you said, because I would talk a little bit about what I've done, and I do that very proudly, and I do it for my daughters. I have been I live in South Orange. I have been a foster mom for a long time. I foster over 25 kids in the diaper system. I adopted 2 children of my own.
Wow.
We have 5 children. My daughter, who just graduated Spelman, I've always actually forced them to go out of the comfort zone. I'm an advocate for my children. I'm a mom. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a business owner. I own an investment company in Jersey where we did construction. I work along with men. I was the only woman, and we did construction in Jersey. I own a Umbrella Beauty. I own a beauty company right now. I just, after the death of George Floyd, joined with some political activists, and we just founded the New Jersey Empowerment Alliance, the New Jersey Empowerment Coalition in New Jersey. Here we have a C3, C4, and we're going to get a PAC. And that's to advocate for women. Women fail women in terms of health. When women go for health,
She's a little bit frozen.
Okay. You can hear us?
No, I can hear you, but Grace, I can't find a link to share. I can't.
You can? Well, we still on Facebook. I don't know how come. Let me remove her quick.
She will come back in.
Yeah, she will come back in.
That's yeah.
Let me see. Okay, guys, we're sorry. One of our people, have a little technical difficulty, but we will be moving on quickly. For me, I would just say what I do is God's work, and I know we supposed to say what we do, and yes, I've accomplished a lot of stuff, doing God's work. I would say that, trying to work here in my community here in Pennsylvania, York, Pennsylvania. I was even they petitioned me the other day to run for commissioner, but I have too many stuff to do, and I look at the whole thing, I couldn't do it. So I was like, you know what? My priority is Liberia. Actually, I want to do a lot of work in Liberia, so I will let this go. It took me a while, but I prayed about it, and God told me to move on. So what we do for God, and I like to uplift women because you guys are powerful women, and you do a lot. So I just wanted you to shine light on the things that you do. If you want to come in quickly before we move on, Jean will be coming back soon.
Yeah, she just texted me. She said her internet died, but she's coming back on.
Okay.
And so for me, I'm just on the quiet side. I haven't been in the Liberian community. I mean, like work-wise or doing anything. I just do my own thing. I mean, like Jean said, I'm an advocate for my son. I have one son, and I'm very particular about him, specifically the conditions in the country surrounding men. And so I'm very protective of him. And I try to teach him well to be a good human being in society. I mean, I go to work every day. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I have a small business also that I run. But because of the coronavirus, it has slowed down. So right now, everything is on pause. And then I work with Lawani also. We're doing the work we do in Liberia. And, and like I say, the Bible says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good work and glorify your Father in heaven. And that is my goal.
Thank you so much, Vera. So moving forward, the world has made unprecedented advances, but no country has achieved gender equality, not even America. And in the meantime, legal restrictions have kept 2.7 billion women from accessing the same choice of job as men. So although we have women construction workers and we have women small business owners, some women own cleaning company and stuff, still yet, we still cannot access the same choices of job as a man. Less than 25% of women, as of 2019, 3 women experienced gender-based violence still in the world. And they're not saying in Liberia, they ain't even saying in West Africa. three women experience 1 in 3 women experience gender-based violence in the world. So I was trying to bring Jean back, but she's now
She's backstage. She just texted.
yeah, but her internet is yeah. So we still have far way to go.
Okay,
But how can we make impact? How can we make impact? Change isn't just about big headlines, movement, legal victory, international agreement. Where we talk, think, and act every day can create a ripple effect that benefit everyone. So how can we impact the world moving out women? How can we impact Liberia as Liberian women? How can we impact our community that we live in? What are some of the things that we do? If any of you guys can want to come in and just give some information out there, what can we do to impact the world so we can have at least a little bit of equality when it comes to women's rights in the world?
Well, I think for me, I would say that like the four of us on the stage when Jean gets back, I think we're already doing a tremendous amount of work that our fellow Liberians, our younger Liberians can see and emulate. Now the challenge is reaching out to them because of the continental distance. You know, they're over there in Liberia and we are on this side, and half the time the positive messages that we put out, it does not reach the amount of people we want to reach. And some of the ones that it reaches, it does not have so much impact, because for the fact that I think some of the messages we put out, they don't receive it the way we want them to receive it. And I don't understand if it's because of educational challenges or it's just because of conditions on the ground in Liberia. So we have a lot of work to do. I think as women, we're doing a whole lot to reach our community, you know, in America and in Liberia. But I think the challenge that still lies before us is how do we lay it out in simple English, simply for them to understand and grasp what we're trying to tell them and join on the bandwagon. I think that's still a challenge for us.
And I will come in before Yasini come in. The reason why I think it's a challenge is that nowadays people don't want to hear good things. I don't know, something with the work going on that people are drawn closer to drama and stupidness than drawn to people want to be educated and know what's going on around them. That's the problem with our people, and that's where we are right now. So I'm bringing Jean back, and Yasini, you can come here.
So there's a saying that goes to collapse any culture or any nation for that matter. Two things must happen. You can use both paths: collapse the education system, okay, or collapse the moral system, which would be the cultural invasion, right?
Mhm.
When you and I were growing up, there was a community. I remember I was not allowed to call my siblings and tell them you lied. It was you telling story. If I said the word you lie, I got whooped. I don't got my mouth hit that I would never use that word before today, although it's abuse, we say. But there was structure, there was culture to follow. There's certain culture that we should not keep. And what we've learned is to assimilate instead of integrate. Okay. Integration is where you take what is good about you, you preserve it, and you find the good around you and incorporate it. We have not done so. And if you're speaking mostly, and then this is not just like you, even here in America, if you, for 30 some more years, Maura Povey be on TV because it's all drama. And Jerry Springer, you know, and I guess it's what makes people think that word is better because of strength or whatever it is. But I think we are doing the grace, rightfully say, we are doing our part. Here's what we can do. We can elevate the conversation. You know, like I said, I don't fight women. If I disagree with you, I will stay on my point and I will make my stand. But we are not going to go back and forth. I'm not going to use profanity. I'm not going to bully you, but I will make sure you hear me, because I want that she said, I got 3 beautiful daughters. I got 1 son. I'm blessed to have 4. And my mother used to say when I was growing up, wherever you walk, when I get there, I better lift my hair up and put my shoulder up and walk. Meaning I should be proud. I should not get there and people say, your daughter was here. So I'm very intentional with my words and my thoughts and my deed. And that what we must teach this generation, even people who do not understand. Because remember now, especially those of us from Liberia, we grew up in during the time where it says, Papi, I respect you, but go poo poo, meaning I'm about to kill you. Oh, Oma, listen, pass on this side. Oma, don't let me, those are where the trauma that we carry, or where all of us carry, or some of us carry, or 90% of us carry. It will take time to get there, but we must challenge ourselves. Like you say, it is a challenge. We must challenge ourselves and say, before we leave this world, we want to make sure we make our own dent. Like Hillary Clinton said 5 years ago, we did not win. In fact, we won. We put millions of cracks. And guess what? That crack opened up and we have Kamala Harris. That crack opened up and we have Stacey Abrams. That crack opened up in my community and we have Donna McLeod, first Black woman in my country, first immigrant Americans to be a lawmaker. So we have to continue to crack the world until we get inside and get more foot inside. The crack started in the 60s and the 70s with Susan, a Black woman who put her hand up and people say it was impossible. But the day she made that announcement was the same day that Kamala Harris used to use her and say, this is a show that we stand. Grace, I went when my daughter walked the street and said, I saw this woman, and her name is Grace. And she was talking to my mom. My kids watch these things. And I want to be or do even better than her. That's how we change the world, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. And what you say is just right in place. So moving on, I would say that there are so many other steps that we can use to impact the world for generation equity, generation equality, and one of them would be to share the care. So that's one of the theme that that's one of the topics that we will be sharing tomorrow. Share the care. You ever heard the saying that a woman works is never finished?
No.
A woman work is never finished. So and that's what I was saying, because we are like they treat us like, or we kind of born into that we should already know everything. We should be career women, especially we who were born from the 70s up, because back in the day, although our parents that were born, some of them work and they did do housework, but most of them were stay-at-home moms. But we that were born from the 70s up, we expect to be career women. At the same time, we expect to be good mothers. At the same time, we expect to do everything in the house. We expect to go to all the soccer games. They call some of us soccer moms, and we expect to go to all the PTA meetings and stuff. At the same time, live our normal lives. At the same time, they put all these burden on us that we have to look a certain way, and we have to have very flat stomach, and we have to be shipping to Coca-Cola ship. But and then all these things are not expected of men. I want Jean to come in to say something about share the care and about how women work never ends. What do you have to say about that, Jean?
Well, if you're a mom, if you're a woman, if you're Black, if you're in this country, if you're anywhere, because I think about my great grandparents, I think about how the women in my family worked, and they were tireless. And had it not been for them, we wouldn't be here. And they carry goods on their heads to sell, that we can have this forum today. So our work is never done. And like she said, there might be a crack, but we haven't really cracked that egg to really get that egg out, the yolk out yet. So our daughters need to be taught about community work. Our daughters need to be taught about humility. Our daughters need to be taught about community contribution. Our daughters need to be taught about their values and their work. Our daughters need to be taught that they are the head and not the tail, that they can be CEOs and they can run companies. Let's not forget, there are women who are running companies. There are women who are presidents. There are women who are CEOs. There are women who are running organizations. There are scientists, engineers, lawyers, all women doing great things and really opening that crack so wide that it really scares society that women are stepping up. It scares society that we are doing the things that they never thought we could do, because we, at one point, we were only in the kitchen. Now we are beyond the kitchen. Now we can cook, we can chew gum and be in the Senate and set laws and rules. And we can do all these fantastic things. And these are the things our children can look at and look up to, because we now, if we can do that, the expectations of our children doing that is not far.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And that's and but today we want, because the topic is choose to challenge. We have a number of things that we want to challenge other people about women, especially the men. Show that you care, commit to even sharing household chores, parenting responsibility, other unpaid work. Yeah, some strategies to get yourself going. So start with a family or household discussion, identify care needs and domestic responsibility. So what are we going to when, especially for women that are married, or women, common law married women, women that stay in the house with their significant others? What are some of the things that you want your husband or your significant other to show that he cares? What are some of the responsibilities that you want him to take over from you? It says that women already taking all the responsibility as well, working 9 to 5 and doing everything that the men are doing right now and still not being recognized. So what are some of the responsibilities you would like for your husband to be able to help you with in the home? Like, lay all your household activities, to chores and roster. Like I would say, for me, I would like, me and my husband to share the kitchen, somehow evenly. Because since I work a 9 to 5 job and I come home and I have to sometimes take the children to sports, and he got to go and take them to the doctor. So at least when we come in the house, some of the things I would like him to do is for us to be able to share the cooking. So maybe if I'm making dinner, we could be making breakfast in the morning. Bro, how you think about that?
Well, for me, the Bible lay out the responsibility of a man and the responsibility of a woman clearly. The man is supposed to go out and till the soil and feed his family. The woman is there to bear the fruits. The man and provide the seed. The man sow the seed, and the woman bear the fruit in terms of children. In the meantime, everything else, I don't recall, and I stand to be corrected, but I don't recall through scripture after that if there is anywhere that says that anything after that has to be on one sided, or it has to be the rest of it has to be the woman. Because the challenge, most of the challenge we have, women have is communicating what they want to their husbands. You know, a lot of women don't know how to communicate what they expect from their husbands to their husband. I don't know how to communicate it to him. Sometimes it's because some people are just difficult to talk to. Some men are just difficult to talk to. Some men are just misogynistic. Some of them are just abusive. Some of them are just rude. Some of them have no discipline. Some of them have no training. They never grew up the right way. So there is no way. So communicating with them makes it difficult to really sit with them and explain to them on the things that make sense for them to understand that it makes sense. Because even though it makes sense, they don't understand it as making sense to them. They just want to take just one thing and just hold on to that one responsibility and then call it and call it a day, and then everything else falls on the woman, the children, the household, the school, the homework, and all that stuff. So for me, I think men are willing to help, but I see the challenge is how do we as women communicate that help that we are in need of? How do we communicate it to our spouses for them to understand it and receive it, and then in turn provide that help that we need?
So what you're saying, I don't know, I understand you as, so we have to learn how to communicate to them again. Isn't that kind of a burden? Because how else can you communicate with somebody that I just need you to help me? I work 9 to 5. I'm a working mother as well. I need you to help me to lay out the house, or for us to put all the chores that we're supposed to be doing, and we can share more ourselves, because you're working 9 to 5 and I am working 9 to 5, or you working 2 to 11, myself working 2 to 11. So how can we agree that when will be your time to set the table? Encourage the children to do their homework and maybe try to help them with it. How can we? How can we do that?
Yeah, but that's part of the challenges that women have. So if we are women and we've always been a foundation and we've always been pushing, and we have pushed so far that we have made cracks, We can't stop now. I understand you're saying that it becomes a burden if you have to keep asking for help, but we can't stop now. We have come so far. We can't stop. We just have to find ways around it and say what we want. And that's how we've been operating. We've been saying what we want, and bit by bit, we've been making improvement. We have accomplished a lot. Women have accomplished a lot. So we just got to continue at that.
Okay. So one of the things, one of the challenges too, I want to put out there is to go with moving on now. One of the challenges I want to put out there for us to be able to, as women, to be able to tell people that is wrong is also for us to call out sexism and harassment. Because in our community, where we live at, and where we come from, calling out sexual harassment and sexism, it kind of embarrassing for most people. So, and most of our people feel that it's not wrong for a woman to be harassed sexually in an office. We saw the case here with Kemenya, the now foreign minister. Somebody came up, a lady came up and said that she was sexually harassed by him in the office, and it had a whole way argument in this whole thing in the Liberian community. I don't know if Jean heard it, but I'm sure Yasini heard it. And people were arguing that there was nothing wrong with it. Once she didn't have any camera to record the man sexually harassing her, there was nothing wrong with the man touching her butt. And there was nothing wrong with the man telling her, say, oh, I like you, and this and that, intimidating her for sex. So, and we want to say out there to our people that we want you people to call out these things. When you see wrong like that, you need to call it out. If a man, don't take any sexual, inappropriate sexual joke for fun. If you're in a setting, or you in a company of people who sexually saying stuff for another woman, you need to shut it down. That's one of the challenges we're putting out there for women to be having freedom and equal rights in the world today. So I want to Yasini to come and speak on that a little bit.
So the one thing that we must understand, we have to understand the background where we come from. Culture has something to do with that. Okay. So and this is not to make an excuse, but first for us to educate, we must understand the origin. Okay. I come from a little town where you have little girls, the moment they're starting puberty, you got men around who walk around and say, I think I heard you spoke on that before. Or maybe before the girl is born, or when she's born, somebody can say she's going to be my wife. How in heaven, when you're already 80 years old, and the baby that's just born is going to be your wife? That within it says coercion, because you're starting to coerce that child before she even becomes a teenager. And in the town, you can tell men walking around, they're doing Liberia. They hold onto little girls' boots and say, oh, the Lord knot is coming up. That is abuse. Okay. So first we have to educate our people that if she says no, she means no. If she says, I don't like it, she means no. If she screams, she means no. If she cries, she means no. If she says stop it, she means no. Okay. And because you've done a certain way over and over, that does not mean it's right. We, it's really sad, and we got to work really harder. If you remember during the More Than Me issue, there was a little girl that was interviewed. She would be 16, 17. And she said, thank God he did not molest me. But every time we were in the pool, he would finger me. Okay. A 16 and 17-year-old young lady, beautiful girl in Liberia, did not know she was being violated. All right. If you say hello the wrong way to my granddaughter, she's 6 years old, she will tell you, I need you to stop now. I don't like it. Don't do that. You're not supposed to, because we have taught her. So the foundation is broken. And for us to repair it, we have lots of work to do. Yes, if you speak to a woman in the tune that she does not like, that is wrong. And what Kemenya did, and we must continue to push this. His name should never die. Every child in Liberia should hear his name. Every child in the Liberian community in America needs to hear his name. That yes, he have propositioned young women the wrong way because he's in a position of power. And the mere fact that he tried being in a position of power, that's harassment, that is wrong, that's immoral, that is illegal. In any other nation of law, he will be in trouble. And no, it's not okay I'm not sure if you heard me this morning about the Reverend, they call him Reverend Giddens, Emmanuel Giddens. We remember the Odell Sherman case, and nobody would speak to that. And the excuse is a pathologist came to Liberia. A pathologist do not get to give the final verdict. The pathologist gets to tell you what killed the person, but they're not going to tell you the event that led to the person being killed, how they said she was brutalized. So now the police needed to do their job. They did not do their job. That is not an acquitter, in my opinion. So we must continue. Let's say V said, we have to widen the tent. We have to let our sister know you can speak and it's okay. And we have to make them comfortable without judgment. I've been in a place when I was younger, and people would saw this girl passing, everybody say, oh, look at the other one, that prostitute, that everybody slept with her in like you. I used to go to my aunt in Matadi Estate, and there was this blonde girl. I would tell this story when she said I never forgot it. But at the time, I was innocent and didn't understand. And these boys were making joke of the girl and said, I wonder they can have party with her whenever they're ready. She was blind. I think she was, and she could not talk, or she could talk. Either she was bobo or something like that. And her mother was carrying her to the hospital. What I did not understand at that time was they had gang raped her, and they continued to gang rape her because she could not talk. And they call it a half party with her, and it is wrong. And let me commence this, V, when she said, I teach my son. We must teach our sons and our brothers to be gentlemen. African parents, especially us who got sons. My son is spoiled. That's my fault. And I take that every time. Not that I didn't teach him, but we always say because they're my only son or they're my son. Because Africa had taught us that the boy is supposed to be this and the girl is supposed to be here. That is not true. Our daughters and our sons belong to be here. Eye to eye. They have the same capacity. They were made in the image of God. And in fact, we are not just a helpmate means a companion, meaning we're here and we have role to play. And my sister is here, she work in construction. So normally somebody would say it's not a woman's role. Who decides that's a woman's role? When the God who made us say, I'm making you a helpmate.
Yeah. So and that's the truth. So for us to challenge any stereotypical notion of gender, such as a woman should know her place and stop getting emotional through open dialogue, we have to be able to have these conversations. And it's so sad that when we're having these conversations, our sisters and brothers that are supposed to really hear the conversations are not around to really hear them, because it had taken away a lot from our country. It had taken away from a lot from our people because of the war situation Liberia went through. The conversation in a certain time will not have with the generations that are in Liberia right now, the youth, and most of them do not know these things. Sometimes when you talk to them one-on-one, you can tell that they just plain don't know what's going on, because it's not that we're looking for excuses, but it's now it's the time for the mothers of Liberia, the ones that are in Liberia, to start to come to these programs that we have to try to learn so they can start to teach their children at home and educate them on these things, because they don't know that gap was just there and people were trying to get their lives back together. They were not able to even train the children in the right way that they should have done, like our parents did. So that gap is there. And a lot of, I think it's almost, I was reading back in the day, it was almost 65 to 72% of Liberia population, they are youth.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so sad that because the population of youth is so high in the country, and most of them don't even know these things, and we can't. We try from the platform to teach them, but we cannot get to them. So I don't know how we can get together to bring these women from Liberia on these panels. It shouldn't be only on Facebook Live, but we can bring them in the back on Zoom, and we try to start to teach them these things that they can carry it to their communities, because our country is dying, and this information need to get out there. This information need to really get out there, and it's not getting out there the way it's supposed to get out, because politics have taken over our country. Everything is politics. So the real day-to-day issue, the real community to community, neighbor to neighbor, how to live, free of politics and just to know one another like the way we grew up. Like when I was growing up, I never knew anything about politics except when in our school, the people running for president or we running for secretary, and we go and vote for those kind of things. But we were not caught up into these things when we were youth, like the way the youth are caught up into it in Liberia. A majority of the youth, a majority of our population are youth. So what do you think Liberia going on from here? Being that these things are happening, do you people have any hope? Fira, you want to come in, or Jean, one of your, do you people have any hope moving forward, seeing the things that Liberia going through, and then the population, they are not even learning, and the youth make most of the population. Where is Liberia going? How can we make women to come and know that you know what, when a man hold my dress like this and I don't like it and I tell him to stop, he continue to do it, that harassment. How can we get it out there?
I think I will let Jean come in. Let's hear what she got to say. I think
one of the things I think about is we have no boundaries. There are no boundaries. There's a lot of complicity in Liberia. Even though we talk about our traditions and where we came from, but a lot of the women who fight for rights and in the politics and go home and do different things, there's no forum for that. Our youth need to be educated. Our girls need to be educated. The forum has to be on the ground. It has to be face to face. It has to be in the villages. It has to be in different places that no one would dare to go, to teach and educate our girls about how they should treat themselves and how they should be in terms of if a man touches them or if a man speaks to them in an inappropriate manner. Because when they talk about those issues, what happens is they're shamed. And even if you and I talk about those issues as we're talking about it today, we will be shamed. Or they're talking about it. There are people in some families who know about their own brothers or their cousins doing this sort of thing, and they're actually very complicit towards it. They allow it. It's okay for my brother to do it, but it's not okay if somebody in the interior does it. The rules should be across the board. Whether you're in politics, whether you sit on a higher forum, whether you're the president, or whether you're in the village, the time for tradition we know now is over. Back then, when men dated or married younger girls from the tribal bushes and stuff, it was tradition 50 years ago when they prepped those girls to be married off from the bush to older men. That tradition is over. We have established that this is abuse. We've established the rules of society. We all know the rules of society, but there is something that is going on in Liberia that's very cynical, because what they do, they don't point it out. They don't tell the friends it's wrong. They don't tell their political leaders when they're doing it. They turn the other way rather than speak up against it. And they don't protect these girls. The women of Liberia have to stand up and start to protect these girls. And if the men are not taught, they will never learn until the political leaders start to set them up as examples by showing them the jail, by sitting them down from working in politics, by giving them time served in jail. And that's what they're doing all across Africa. The fact that Liberia is not doing this because Liberia doesn't want to do it.
I agree. The fact that Liberia isn't doing it because Liberia don't want to do it.
There are a lot of countries
they don't want to do it, and this is just so sad. You see that the demand for equal work culture is not even there. I mean, most of the women that have positions in Liberia, they have to sleep with these men. Even if they're educated enough for that position, it's not enough. They have to lie down on their backs and give their rights out for sexually before they can get into that position. And they can perform the position if they get into the position because they are educated enough to perform and they have enough experience to perform. But it's the norm of the day in that country. I've seen it come in.
So Grace, here it is. I'm gonna say this in my Maya Angelou voice. If you give it to someone to change it and they can't change it, get there and change it. You know what you said to me earlier, you said to us earlier, you were contacted to run in your state and you said Liberia needs me. I did that 4 years ago here and I regretted that I did it. Because you know why? When I thought that you taught, I said they want me in the Liberian community in Gwinnett County, but I mean, there are many of me in Gwinnett County or in the United States, but there are one of me in Liberia. Okay, but guess what? We have elected a Jamaican immigrant who is making a difference. Sometimes some of the tips that I post, these people you think they're not watching. She's a lawmaker. They look at all of these things that's happening in Africa. Sometimes she inboxes it to me and I post it. And she said, are they for real? Okay. So now here it is. We can't make excuses. That Jean said, we have already established that those are abuse. We are not going back to tell you they didn't know. They do know. They listen to the radio. They know that these kids get hurt. They know that some of them body get tuned up and it's never repaired. Some of them end up dying. Okay. So they know it hurts. They know that when you, as a grown man, have sex with her or molest a 10-year-old, she will never be the same. And I have, but I didn't find it, a tip where, Dr. Francine were in Liberia having a seminar. And the women in Liberia who work in the healthcare field, and they were pleading. They says not only our daughters, our little boys are in peril. And hopefully we can have a forum, Jane, Sisv, Grace, that even on the air in Liberia, we know, because let me say, you can't say, we can't talk politics. Plato say, if you are not interested in your government, you will be led by fools. Because those are the ones who decide whether I live in Logan'sville or Lawrenceville. Those are the ones who decide that the man who killed George Floyd can go to jail or not go to jail. We must take interest in politics because that's how the word is shipped. Even Jesus said, give to Caesar what is due Caesar and to God what is due.
I'm not cutting you off, but they can exercise their political rights. And they can exercise their political rights is to go and vote for the people that's supposed to change their lives. And everybody will not serve in the position that's been given out there in the government, but you can change your life by voting the right people that will make the change for you.
And Grace, I will come in there. I will come in there. You see me? I don't cut off anybody because the political view. That's their view. There's a young lady in Australia. Her name is Susan. And when people talk, I say that's my daughter. They're all my children. Okay. I respect her opinion. I may not agree with her opinion. I don't agree with her opinion, but that is her opinion. If mine is strong enough to convince her to come on the side and see things the way I see it, then we will. But we have to have this dialogue. We can't cut people off, okay? And we can't fight each other because where they belong on the side of the aisle. We can educate them to come why. Liberians must learn to start electing people with morals. Liberians tease or bully people who are moral. They laugh at people who want to live a good or going to stay on a good path. Let's say, for instance, if a Liberian woman, let's say in my house, if people see that my husband is committed to me, they say, oh, look at our other food. I want you to make it wish with her. Look at our other one.
I got no sponsor.
Yeah. No, he pretending he gay. But the man who having babies everywhere, the man who can knock every girl butt, we back them. What we women have to do is, number one, we have to train our girls to respect themselves. We have to let them know their boundaries that other people, even their brothers, can't cross. Well, the brothers will learn. You will watch your son teach his sister or protect his sister, or how you treat your son, how he treats other people out there, that's how he's going to treat you in the end. He may not be disrespecting you now, disrespecting people out, and you back him. Eventually, he's going to bring you home. So we must train our boys to be gentlemen. We must train our boys when you are in the kitchen, mommy, how can I help? Not just take the trash, not just cut the grass. They can wash dishes. They can cook. And because if they do that, you are raising men that will be good husbands to their wives. You are raising men that will be good fathers, protective fathers, because they will see that in their mother and they will be protecting that, right? So we must be involved in politics. Grace, we must, okay? But we must do it with equity. Like I tell people, I don't get in a forum with every woman, because every woman and I don't think alike, all right? I choose who company to be in and who company not to be in. It does not mean I'm arrogant. It does not mean I'm better. It just means I have to make that choice as to what company, because the company I keep is also a food to my soul. My ears is the toner to my soul. My eyes are also a road to my soul. and I have to make sure what I behold and what I hear becomes a part of me. Mhm.
I would like women in Liberia to exercise their political rights. You know, and that's the part of the politics I talk about. You know,
Yeah.
everybody will not be in the forefront, but they need to exercise their political rights. Women need to remain woefully. Women are actually underrepresented in the highest political position. As of 2020, the research has shown women only hold around 25% of seats in national parliaments in
Mhm.
America and account for less than 7% of the world leaders. So,
Mhm.
for women to be in positions, other women have to go and vote for them. Other women has to see the quality in these women and the way they carry on, the way they present themselves, and not because she's a woman. No, don't look at that just that. But she's a woman that will go in that place and she will change things. She's a woman that will make the school system good for my children tomorrow to go to my grandchildren will have a good education. She's a woman that will go there and help the healthcare system when she becomes senator or lawmaker in the community. She's a woman that will stand up for women's rights when stuff happens, that she will be there in the forefront to help. And that's the kind of politics I like to see women in. When they say time for voting, go to your community, go to your neighbors, and you start to bring the conversation up, talk about it. Who you think that, you know, we see the woman here, we have been watching her, we know that she will do good for the community. We know that she will do good for the particular country. And this is the woman we carrying because she's a woman like ourselves, and we'll make sure we push her. Look what happened to Seattle Napoli. Seattle Napoli were running for Monserrato County senator. They bully her out of the race because she is a woman. They bully her out of the race and started sending threat to her house and started threatening that they kidnap her children. And other women stood by and never said anything. Yeah, we were talking a little bit. I don't even know whether Yasini knew about it, but we were talking a little bit on Facebook that this woman is being bullied and nobody had anything to say about it. We even made sure that we were able to pay one of the bigger platform for her to go on there to explain herself. But other women in Liberia, they were not backing her at all because most of the time, most of these women just feel that men supposed to be in these positions and that's it. So they don't care when they see other women going in these positions. That's the political part, the whole thing. Exercise your political rights. Put your family together and your neighbors and your community, and you go out there and you vote the right people to change the lives of your children and your great grandchildren, and also the lives of your neighbors and your community. Where you want to come in on that?
Yeah, but I listened to everything that you said, Grace, and I listened to everything that Yacindy said. But the few women, I know it's not a lot of women in positions in high authority in Liberia. That's some of the complaint. They say, oh, it's not a whole lot of women in high places and stuff like that. But the few that we have in high places, in my opinion, they haven't really challenged themselves to work on behalf of women. That is my opinion, and I stand to be corrected. Because if you're a woman and we women the glass ceiling has already been shattered, but we're still trying to break through. And when you get in a place of position, you should be able to continue that work, not to make that work a setback. And in Liberia, that's what happens. We encourage women to vote for other women to get into places of power so that they can push women issues and stuff like that. And when they get into the places of power among the men that are there, they become just like the men. They behave just like the men. They are lackadaisical just like the men. You know, they kind of join the boys club and they kind of develop the boys mentality. They don't look after women issues. They don't promote women issues. They don't fight for women issues. Look at like the whole rape thing. When it's still on the rise in Liberia, but when it was so all over the place and stinking all over the place, how many women senators or women that are in places high places in Liberia were among those protesters that were in the street? How many of them were there? So we as women, that's what I'm saying, we have to challenge ourselves too, because sometimes when we are not in a place of position yet, we have everything to say. And then when we are lifted into the place of position, we do nothing. We do nothing. We forget those things that we were advocating for. We forget those things that we were concerned about. We forget those things that we were fighting for, and we just go and join on the bandwagon and don't look back anymore at any women issues. So We women, we have to challenge ourselves. We have problems among ourselves. Women have problems uniting. Women have problems and speaking with one voice. Women have problems sharing their experiences with other women. Women have problems with turning over the baton to another woman. They don't respect tenure. They just won't stay there for a lifelong till they die, till they pronounce them dead, and then they say this person is dead, and then somebody else got to be promoted or elevated into that position. You know, women don't respect viability. You know, at certain strength and certain point in time, your strength is gonna fail. We're on here. We are four strong women on here. At some point in time, our strength is not going to be as it is now. We are going to slow down. So how do we as women? How do we pass on our experiences? How do we pass on our education? How do we pass on you know the things that we are involved with? How do we unite the younger generation? How do we promote solidarity? How do we get those women that need to turn over the baton to us right now, that are ahead of us? Those who need to turn it over to us right now.
Oh, they still holding on to
turn
it,
it
man.
over to us. How do we get them to turn it over to us? You know, everything is in stages. Life is in stages. When you have to pass it on to someone else. You have to pass on knowledge to someone else. You have to pass on wisdom to someone else. You can't hold on to it forever till you die and carry it in the grave, and then it does nothing for nobody. So we women, we have a lot of challenges ahead of us, and I think first we must start to come together. And I think this platform is a very good platform that we are on here talking today. You know, the fact that the four of us, I see us as influential women, we are on here talking about it. This shows unity. This shows solidarity. Here we are sharing our experiences. We are sharing knowledge here. So, you know, how do we continue on from here positively so that those who will come after us see what we are all about and see.
Your phone went off, bro.
Yeah, someone was calling me. I had to cut it off. How do we move on from here for those who are behind us to see the positive messages that we are putting out here? How do we pass it on to them? How do we teach them? And how do we move on from here? We as women, we have a lot of challenges. We can't continue to look at what the men are doing. We just have to push for our own issues. We have to promote our own issues, and we got to keep fighting. We just can't give up now.
And we have to promote one another. And one of the things I want to say before we close, before you guys come in and say your last words, is to teach the girls their worth. We need to teach our children after us that coming their worth. That one of the things that are lacking in our community. Our little princesses, they are vulnerable. When they try to be something and start to speak, or then they call them bossy. Look at that one. She's so bossy. That Grace girl or that person, she's so bossy because she can speak her mind. Before even hitting puberty, girls across the world over already carry internalized belief about their place in life. You know, their role in society, that they should be dependent on a man. And Liberian women, they know how to do that. They know how to be dependent on men. Some of them will just lay down there. They're seeking men by day on Facebook. Men in America, the one in Liberia, they're seeking, oh yeah, they start talking with a man. I say, I got men that can call me my friends. How girls in Liberia will call them and approach them. I want you to be my godpa. Hey man, please be my godpa for us to be talking. And then later on, when they start talking to them, like they just trying to talk to them like a god, we are godparent when we're coming. Or we used to have our godparents. No, they don't want it like that. Then they start to hit on the men like love talk, because they were taught that. That's why we need to teach our little children that are coming up, the girls after us, the teenagers and the ones that are in the early 20s, their worth. That you don't have to be a vulnerable woman, and you don't have to be dependent on a man for anything. You have to know your role in society, and you have to be able to push yourself as a person. Don't let nobody take away what you're supposed to have for yourself. That going and seeking after men to take care of you. All the men need the full money here today. Oh, me and I'm cooking. Oh, that thing other star. That just put it like other star. You have to have your own full money. You got to date a man go and maybe he doesn't come back. Anything could happen. He could go and have accident and die, or he could decide to leave and go to another woman. How you going to get full money? So many women will start to empower in Liberia. That's what's going on with them. I will tell you, my sisters, most of them dependent on men. When the men left them, nothing. Their children start to starve and eat dry rice and farina and salt. And then they come to us, like I said, only foundation. Oh, the woman, yeah, she dying, or the other thing happening to her. Then we have to empower her and tell her, say, oh, you need to open your own little small business. So how can we teach our children, our girls, that their own worth? That one of the things that we need to do. We need to come together as women and decide on how we will carry that teaching to Liberia, or how can we do it, even for them to have Zoom and come in. We don't even have to be on Facebook and just start to teach them, or else we will not have a country. Any of y'all can come in and say your last statement, because we're about to leave from here now. But with the top, I mean, it's a long conversation. This conversation is so long, it's not even funny. We just need to continue to forge forward and have the conversation. We have to have it.
So I'm going to close, so I will go. I want to say it's an honor being here. I think we can set up a quarterly conversation, or set up a room where we can incorporate the women, Liberian women from around the world, and young women, to be mentor to them, and people who are specialized in behavioral health, and just, big sister conversation that we can have. But as we talk about our daughters, we should also understand that in Liberia, 4 out of 5 girls will be violated before they reach the age of 10. So that's all we've been taught. We've been taught that we're between our legs is the only thing that we have to use. And I want young girls in Liberia to understand that it's not your scar to carry, it is somebody else's shame to carry, because you're a kid if that happens to you. That is their shame to bear. Their job was to protect you, to shape you, to show you the light, the way, and your self-worth. We are here to stand with you. If you need to talk to us, we will be here. But this culture must stop. And we have 4 powerful women here, and there are many of us on Facebook doing our own thing. But what we need to create is a forum of love and teaching and time, that these girls understand their body parts, number one, that this touch is inappropriate. And also know that they don't have, they're smart. They were born with brains. And they're out there that they can create their own space and their own name, and they don't have to be dependent. But then that's other psychological issue that have to be addressed. Those I will leave to Grace and all the psych and behavior health people to take care of. But it has been an honor being here. We are stronger together. Let's continue to light a light so other people can see our light and find their way home. Thank you
so much, Yasini. Jean, you want to come in?
Yeah, thank you so much for the invite today. It was very enlightening to hear this conversation, and it was troublesome to hear about, some of the things that are going on in Liberia, and to really face on. But I think we stand in a unique space, all of us, we stand in a unique space because we stand in the space where we can educate. And we have to extend that space back to Liberia, where our children and our girls can be educated, where our boys can be educated, where our men can be educated. We have to be fearless. We have to stay in this place of fearlessness, because if we are not, we'll be afraid. And what I think about the women who are condoning and accepting and allowing, because they're afraid. They really are. And because they can't do it. They just don't have the know-how. And they don't, and because we have the know-how, we have to charge. We are being charged to take this to the next level. And the next level means going to the villages, because I have a foundation in Liberia. It's called feed2000.org. If you go to my website, we educate, we empower. We go to the villages, we talk to young girls, we put girls on birth control, we talk to them about sexual behaviors. These are the things that all of us are charged to do. If we know better, we can do better. But in knowing better and doing better, sometimes we can't do it so much from afar. Sometimes it's feet on the ground. Sometimes it's walking into those villages that those girls have never heard about. I've never heard about, not touching or bad behavior, or teaching the men, because they don't even know better. But the people who are in the city themselves know better. So that's why they should be prosecuted. And that's why we can't turn the other cheek. That's why this conversation has to be just replayed and replayed and replayed. Those men must be held accountable. The government must hold them accountable. The forums across the board, Facebook, wherever, all those forums, newspapers must hold those men accountable. And there must be a price that they must pay for violating those young girls. So we can't sit down on this. This is not our space. We charge for this. We cannot sit down on this. We have to take this a step further.
Thank you so much, Jean. Fira? Your we can hear you. Okay, I think if you're having problems, I would just say that before we leave, I want to say thank you for you ladies coming on. We really appreciate each and every one of you, the two of you actually. God bless you because to have you taken from your business schedule, it means a lot to the Liberian community. You might not know that right now, but it does, and it means a lot to us. I would just say that if you have not, out there, anybody listening to me, if you have not reached your full potential as a woman in this life, you have not lived. And we want to encourage you to continue to strive to reach your full potential, no matter where you are. It doesn't change anything. We know Liberia is hard and everything. We all went through it somehow, some way, because we went through the war and we were still able to fight our way through, and we were still able to hold ourselves with high esteem because we knew where we came from. We know what our parents taught us, and we were not giving up anything just to please a man. We're not giving up anything just to tell them that, okay, I have to give myself up just because I need a job. But we were able to stand our ground. Some people, I know some of my friends that made it today in America. When I say made it, I mean they got everything going. And during the war, they sold cold water. But they came here now and their life is so different. And they were even making it before they came here when they were living in another country. So you can strive and you can make things happen for yourself, and you can reach out to some of us, like Jean told you guys about her foundation. We also deal with Legacy Holding Foundation that empower women, and we have students on scholarship. We help the disability people in Liberia, and we deal with Lawani. We reach out to women as well, and we do awareness program in the different communities. Teaching women how to offer, tell the men that I can't sleep with you except you use condom. If you really have to sleep with him, that you got to use condom before you sleep with him. I don't know you like that, and things like that. So I want to tell you guys, thank you for coming on. If you cannot come because her phone now is, I think, having problem. God bless you all, and have a beautiful.
So much.
You want Avira? Have a beautiful International Women's Day tomorrow. Do everything to make yourself feel happy because it's your day. You need to celebrate yourself. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah. Bye.
All right.
Mhm.